It started as an ordinary live interview, a routine broadcast from London to millions of viewers around the world. The BBC morning show had invited a Filipino guest, a young, accomplished linguist named Maria Santos, to discuss how English is used differently across Asian countries. What absolutely nobody expected was that this standard academic discussion would instantly spiral into one of the most embarrassing moments in BBC history, and that the reporter who thought he was clever would be the one who ended up completely schooled. Live on air. The moment began innocently enough. The BBC reporter, a tall, established British man named Oliver Grant, introduced Maria with what appeared to be a polite smile. Joining us today from Manila is Maria Santos, a linguist who studies the way English has evolved in Southeast Asia. He concluded, "Good morning, Maria." Maria returned the smile and replied, "Good morning, sir. It's a pleasure to be here." But as soon as she spoke, Oliver raised an eyebrow, a subtle smirk playing on his face, noticed by countless viewers. "I must say, Maria," he said in a slightly mocking and patronizing tone, "your English is quite interesting." The way he delivered the word interesting made it immediately clear that this was not intended as a compliment. The live audience chuckled softly, but Maria kept her perfect composure. She simply smiled and said, "Thank you, sir. I studied English since I was a child. It's one of our national languages." Oliver leaned back in his chair, pretending to be impressed. "Oh yes, I've heard that. But tell me, do Filipinos speak English every day? I mean, real English or just the Filipino version of it?" The question hung in the air, sharp, condescending, and laced with arrogance. The producers in the control room froze immediately. They knew the tone was disrespectful, but this was live television. There was no way to cut it. Maria, however, did not flinch. "Well," she said, her voice calm and even, "English in the Philippines is not just a version, sir. It's part of who we are. In fact, many Filipinos learn English before they even start school. We use it in universities, in government, in business, and in daily life. You could say we live in English and Filipino at the same time." Oliver chuckled again, clearly unwilling to back down. "That's cute. But surely it's not the same as native English, is it? I mean, your pronunciation, your expressions, they're different." The way he said different sounded entirely like he meant wrong.
But Maria still did not lose her smile. Instead, she turned the question back on him with brilliant, surgical precision. "May I ask, sir, what you mean by real English? Because from where I stand, there isn't just one English. There's British English, American English, Australian English, Indian English, even Nigerian English. Wouldn't you agree?" The studio went utterly silent for a long moment. Oliver cleared his throat, clearly rattled. "Well, yes, but the BBC uses the standard form." "And who decided what standard?" Maria asked, her smile unwavering. "Was it the British Empire?" The audience gasped softly, feeling the tension shift entirely. Oliver tried to laugh it off. "You're quite bold, Maria." "I'm just being honest," she replied. Then she continued, laying out her core argument. "The funny thing about language is that it evolves. The same way British English borrowed words from French, Latin, and even Hindi, Filipino English has evolved to fit our own unique culture and reality. It doesn't make it less valid. It just makes it ours." Oliver desperately tried to regain control of his own interview. "But you do agree that the Queen's English is the gold standard of proper English?" "Actually, sir," Maria countered, "many young British people don't even speak like the Queen anymore. In fact, most of your viewers probably don't use that kind of English at all." The studio audience erupted in laughter. Oliver forced a strained, fixed smile. "Good point," he said, but his tone was tight with embarrassment. "Now, if you are a true, full-blooded Filipino who carries the spirit of Puso in your chest, show your support and subscribe to this channel right now. Join us to celebrate the emotional richness and global impact of the Filipino spirit." Maria pressed her advantage. "In the Philippines, English isn't just for academics. Taxi drivers, street vendors, and farmers can all speak it in their own way. That's the beauty of it. It connects people from all walks of life. We may pronounce things differently, but we understand each other perfectly. Isn't that what language is truly for?" The chat section of the BBC live stream began flooding immediately with comments. Viewers from around the world were praising Maria's composure and wit. Filipinos across social media began sharing clips of the interview with captions like "Filipino pride" and "We speak English with confidence, not apology." Despite the clear shift in momentum, Oliver still wasn't ready to surrender. "So you're saying that Filipino English should be treated as its own legitimate dialect?" "More than that," Maria replied. "It's a living proof of how English has become truly global. You can't call it wrong just because it doesn't sound British. That's like saying British English is wrong because it doesn't sound like American." Oliver blinked, genuinely surprised. "That's an interesting comparison." Maria nodded. "Language belongs to those who speak it. And if over 100 million Filipinos use English daily, that's not a mistake. That's a movement." The audience erupted in powerful applause. Oliver looked utterly flustered, shuffling his notes on the desk. "Well, that's quite an argument. You make it sound like English is no longer owned by the English." "It's not," Maria said, delivering the final blow with calm finality. "It never was. It belongs to everyone who uses it to express themselves." The moment was iconic. Maria's face, calm, intelligent, and utterly confident, captured the world's attention. A few seconds later, Oliver tried clumsily to change the topic, but the damage was done. Maria had already captured the world's attention. Later that very day, clips of the interview went massively viral on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. Millions of people shared the video, praising how Maria had handled the arrogant reporter with such grace and unwavering intelligence. Even some British viewers commented things like, "She's absolutely right. Language evolves, and this is why we love Filipinos polite but incredibly powerful." But what really shocked everyone was the BBC's institutional response. The network's official Twitter account posted a short, humbling message: "We celebrate diversity in language." Today's conversation with Maria Santos reminds us that English belongs to all who speak it. Oliver himself issued a public apology the very next day. "I've learned something truly valuable," he said on air. "English is a bridge, not a wall. And I was wrong to underestimate how beautifully Filipinos use it." The apology spread almost as quickly as the original clip.
Maria, meanwhile, became an overnight sensation. Universities across continents invited her to speak about linguistic diversity. She even received messages from people in Africa, India, and the Caribbean, thanking her for powerfully defending the idea that English can be spoken in many ways and still be completely correct. A few weeks later, Maria was invited back to the BBC, but this time, her role was fundamentally different. She returned not as a guest to be questioned, but as a special commentator. When she appeared again, Oliver greeted her with genuine respect. "Welcome back, Maria. It's an honor to have you." "Thank you, sir," she replied, smiling as always. This time, the tone of the entire show was different. It was warm, equal, and full of mutual admiration. The conversation that followed wasn't about mockery anymore. It was about understanding, growth, and respect. Oliver even admitted on air that he had rewatched their previous interviews several times. "I realized," he said, "that you didn't just defend Filipino English. You reminded us what communication is truly about: connection." Maria nodded. "Exactly. Language isn't about who sounds more proper. It's about who makes people feel understood. And Filipinos have mastered that." The studio audience clapped again, but this time with a deeper, more profound appreciation. Back home in the Philippines, people gathered in cafes, offices, and classrooms to watch the replay. Teachers showed it to their students, saying, "This is how you stand your ground with humility and brilliance." Young Filipinos who once felt insecure about their accent began to feel a deep pride. They realized that speaking English with a Filipino accent wasn't a weakness. It was a mark of their identity, their global reach, and their incredible adaptability. Her story became a symbol of confidence for non-native English speakers everywhere. The story of Maria and the BBC reporter became a modern online legend, a reminder that respect matters more than accent, and that knowledge, when spoken with humility, can absolutely silence arrogance. A single live interview that began with mockery was transformed into a powerful, global lesson.